All right, let's see if we can get this always in power into the always on power into this D connector. So first thing we're gonna do is push that down, and that allows the connector to pop right out. So we want to get it into slot number either 2, I think 2 or 3 work. So we got this big one here is 1, 2, 3, 4. So I want to get it into number 3, which is on this side. So when I turn it over, that means it's on this side over here. So let's see if I can remember how to open this. I think that has to do with this down here. All right, let's see. I might have to put you guys down for a minute. Let's see if I can put you here and still get everything on camera. As always, I did not bring the appropriate tools out. So we're gonna see if I can do it with this one. Okay, so the first thing we have to do is pull this. There's a little latch in here, not the big one that you see there, but behind it there's a smaller one. When you pull that this way, away, it allows the back cover of this to open. See? All right, so now that that's open, I have access to all of my terminals and all of the locations I can plug them in. So I think the second thing we need to do is we need to take this plastic piece, and it just needs to be popped up for the pins to go in, just like that. Doesn't need to go farther than that. I've made the mistake of ripping it out completely, and that's why you see broken here. So now that we have that open, if we recall, this side is number 3. This side over here is number 3, so when I turn it over, it's over here. Okay, sorry about that little break. So I double checked it. It's number 2 I want to use, and number 2 is on the side. It might be a little hard to see because it's dark, but look for a white and blue wire. White and blue is number 14, and 2 is directly below it on the bottom. So now that I know that, I'm going to take my terminal and I'm going to slide it in there. It's supposed to go sideways. So unfortunately, the type of wire I bought is flexible wire, and so it's proving to be difficult to push this terminal all the way in. Okay, so I just heard it click. Now when I try to pull it, it doesn't come out. Okay, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to push this back down. That should have my terminal seated directly in here. And then I'm going to take my cover, my case. I'm going to put this down along the bottom, right? Just as if the terminal was here all along. I'll put my back cover on, and you can see there's my wire sticking out the back. And now we're going to plug this in. Perfect. So now what we want to do is we want to test to make sure that this is working. Because remember, this is supposed to be always on power. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my multimeter. Okay, I'm going to get my multimeter. I'm going to set it to continuity mode. Test it. I always test to make sure that I'm on the right mode. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect the probe. I'm sorry, I said continuity mode. I don't want continuity mode. I want voltage, to measure voltage. So I'm going to put it here on the 20. I'm going to try to put this so you guys can watch it and see it. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the red one on the red lead. Okay, so now I'm trying to hold the red wire inside the connector. So it's like this on the red lead. So I'm going to hold that. And then all I need to do is take my black lead and attach it to a ground. And there's a ground right behind, there's a ground screw that's right behind the kick panel. All right, that's better. I have my red lead on my wire, and then I'm going to push my probe to touch the ground. And I can't tell if I'm actually touching the ground or not. And there we go. So you saw it momentarily. That's because I'm having a hard time holding this. But now I'm holding it. And you see 12 volts always on. So the car's not on. So now I have my voltage. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my ground wire, which is here. I already put the little crimp connector on. I'm going to take off my passenger kick panel. So just so you see what I'm talking about, that screw right in there inside the kick panel is the ground. So I'm going to pull this off. I'm going to put that ground right in there. And to be honest, I could probably no, I can't shorten the wire. And then I'm going to take this, right? And this is going to be the power that goes to my heated steering wheel. I'm going to feed it up under there. So I've actually done this a few times before. You see that green wire, you see that red wire. Those are also wires getting fed across. So I'm no stranger to this. So that's basically what's going to happen from a next steps perspective. And what we're going to do next is we're going to talk about getting our, not always on power, our key on, ignition on power, and we'll work on that next. That one is going to be a little bit more tough. That's that black one up there, right over here. So we just need to make sure we get the right terminal for that, and then we are golden. All right. All right, guys. I am going to show you how to depin and pin up C2280B. So that's this guy up here. So to get this out, the first thing you need to do is you need to press in on this nub here. So we're going to press that in. And you're going to have to bear with me because it's 20 degrees out. And it snowed 6 inches yesterday. So this is cold to be doing outside on the street. So to make life easier for me, this plug is also on the same wire loom as this one, so I'm just going to unplug both. Okay, so now we have our two pieces, and if you look, you have a black one and a gray one. We're going to take both those out in order to make life easier for us. So all you have to do is you pull this back, this little tab here, and you pull on the plug and it will start to slide out. Okay, so you can see black is coming out. Do the same with gray here. And so we can pull the housing off and put it to the side. Now, we want to put it in position, I believe, 4. Now, I know the easy way to distinguish these is on this car, the gray one has multiple sides. Both sides are populated by wires. That's the higher ones. We're not going to use that. Black is the side with only one side populated. That's the side we want to go with. Now, we need to determine which pin are we going to do, or which pin are we going to add in order to make this work. So I'm actually going to grab you guys for a second here, and I will be right back as I check my diagram. All right, so we're back. Now, I did some double checking, and we want to put it in slot 6. Now, just a reminder, slot 5 is where you would have power for your backup camera. Slot 6 is where the Laguna Seca gauges would go. And slot 7, which is blue-orange, that is your airbags. And so we know that we know to count from this side up because we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If we were to count from this side, we'd have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's not from this side because the gauges, the connector is actually numbered. So if you hold it at a certain angle, you can see there's a 1 here and a 13 here. Yeah, 7, not smart. Okay, so I want to add it to pin number 6 anyway. So if I recall correctly, the way we actually add pins to this is we lift the front just slightly. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And be very careful. Okay, I accidentally lifted up number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't want to lift 5, I want number 6. Okay. Up. Well, that wasn't good. Okay, well, I am going to pray that I didn't break that and add it back in later, if it will go back in. But let's get our connector in, our terminal. All right. Gotta work my way through this rat's nest under here and find the red terminal, which is here. Okay, now I pulled this directly from the manufacturer's website, so this should be a direct fit into this connector. So let's see. Beautiful. That slid right in. Now what I don't like is it slides out because I believe that piece that I pulled off came off. So let's see if this is something we can fix here. All right, I definitely broke it. So don't be like me. Don't try to peel up that front, because quite frankly, I don't think that was the right way of going about it. I also, I guess it does seem like it's stuck in. Yeah. Yeah, I definitely broke it. Well, we're going to try to stick that back on one more time. And then we're just going to close it up, and we'll see if I didn't completely destroy this. Okay. So I put that piece in. I'm not going to try to mess around with this. Now I'm just going to put it back into the housing. And then we're going to test it out. All right, that's one. That's two. Okay, so at this point, I should have only run start power to this particular wire when I turn the car on. So I'm going to pull this back over here. I'm going to try to get myself in a normal working position. And we're going to give this a try. All right. So. I'm going to try holding you guys in such a way that I can test this. So I have my multimeter on. Now, if I hold it inside here to power to the red pin. Put my multimeter here so you guys can hopefully see it. And if I take this and I go to ground, which, you know what? I'm just going to show you guys how to get to the ground. It's just kind of on the right side here behind this panel. So I just pulled the kick panel out. And your ground pin is not this, but up this one right here where I already have a few wires in for other things. But I'm going to try this. So I should not get voltage. Okay, so it looks like I'm getting nothing. Nothing from the car. 0.01. Okay, so now when I go, oh, there's my little fuse puller. Now when I go and I put the car into accessory, haven't started it. Whoa. I put it on accessory. And let's try this out. Let's turn this radio off. So now I should get something like 12 volts. Okay, 11, that makes sense because the car is not on. It's just an accessory mode. But this is good. That means when the car is off, I don't have voltage. When the car is on, now I do have voltage. All right, so now it's a matter of getting my... Again, I'm going to get my wires fished to the other side. I'm going to get my ground hooked up. Now, just for your guys' own sake of knowledge, here is one ground point you can use. I've already used this ground point for two separate projects here. One is for the heated seats in the front. When I added them, that's this line here. And then this one back here, I believe is for my, my parking aid module. So that's the ground for the parking aid. So I think I'm going to opt to go with the ground on the other side, but you could use this one here. So I'll take you guys over to the other side in just a minute. Once I get these wires fished through this cavity under here, so they're on the driver's side. So I will see you guys in just a hot second. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get that ground set up. So according to the wiring diagram, there should be a ground point somewhere back here. So let's just get right into that. There's one Christmas tree ornament plug here, Christmas tree plug that you want to pop out. Then I like to start up near the top by the door, or somewhere in the middle. You can grip and pull it towards you. We're going to pull this out, and then you got to get under your door sill and lift that just enough to get this up and out. This always proves to be an interesting feat in acrobatics here. Until you get that out. Okay, so the ground is right here. Here's your ground point. All right. I thought it was over here, like the other side. The ground point is here. So we're going to get a 10 millimeter. We're going to loosen this bad boy up. All right, so we want to get ourselves, underneath. I like to get it so that my connectors can go under the washer. I'm going to take my two connectors, slide them in. One. Okay, remember, because one is for the temporary on power. The next one is going to be for the always on power. Sorry, run start versus always on. Now we're going to tighten this up. And sometimes you just want to hold them in. So we hold those in while we turn this, just so we know that they're going to stay. And okay, so once again, I'm going to get my multimeter out, and I'm going to test this to make sure that with this one I should be getting always on power. Okay, so when I plug this in here, I get one. There's no real easy way to wedge it into here, but I'm going to try. Okay, so there's my always on power. So we got always on power to this plug. Now I'll know which plug it is because if you look, I have pretty significantly different gauges here. This is my always on power. This is going to provide the actual heat to the steering wheel. All right, I'm just pulling this out so that it's out of the way. Oof, it's cold. I think it's 19 degrees. I guess it's not terrible, but it's not ideal. All right, and this right here will be my run start power. So let's try this. Now I should get nothing. And what I'll try to do is I'll try to hold this in such a way. All right, so I have nothing. And of course, I didn't leave my keys in the ignition. And I have no clue where I put it. Oh, and it's right here. Okay. All right, so let's put this up in here. And now, we'll hold this here. Okay, so we got nothing. And when I turn this on, there we go. There we have voltage once I turn it on. When I turn it back off, I go back to 0. Back on, back off to 0. So this is good. So this is going to power, remember, this is going to power our momentary toggle switch. So it essentially acts as a cutoff for the heated steering wheel. So now that we have this all wired up and all set, what we'll do is before I tuck these wires away, what I think I may actually do is I may go ahead and bring the steering wheel and the clock spring out here just to physically test it out, plugged in kind of on the floor. And, you know, with these two sources providing power like I did in the house. And then we'll go ahead and we'll work on the installation, getting it all set up and installed. All right, well, I'll catch you in the next one. See ya.